Hey there, we're Shannon and Jerry Arner, your hosts of the Arner Adventures podcast.
We're a minimalist couple driven by intentional living and adventure.
Burned out from the 24/7 grind of running our business, we traded the hustle and the bustle for something more meaningful.
We parted ways with most of our belongings and moved to the coast.
Listen along as we chat about life's challenges, share inspiring stories of those who have taken big leaps to live a life outside of the norm,
and help you live with more intention and less physical and mental clutter.
Each episode is a step toward doing and being just a little bit better for ourselves and the world around us.
Life's an adventure after all. Join us for the ride.
It's the Arner Adventures podcast. Hi everybody, I'm Jerry.
And I'm Shannon.
We're back for episode 162 of the Arner Adventures podcast.
We are so excited about today's topic because, as you all know, we love to travel, we love our adventures, and there is sort of a new trending topic, but it really is something that we have started to embrace, and that is slow travel.
And what we're going to talk about today is how to be a slow traveler.
Yep, adventures without overscheduling. So, in case you aren't familiar or you're not sure what slow travel is, you're like, oh my God, does that mean it takes longer to get to places? What does it mean? It seems like a bore. No, this is so great, and we can't wait to dig into all of it and how to do it and why you should do it.
I don't know about you, but for myself, a lot of times I've come back from vacation not feeling too refreshed, because travel can be a little bit exhausting.
Yeah, it's draining.
Yeah, it's draining. You feel like you need another vacation. I'm sure you've been there.
Yeah, I think everybody has probably been there. You always say you need a vacation from your vacation,
Yeah.
And we used to be the kind of travelers who tried to cram in as much as possible, like so many people do. We as Americans have limited time that we take off. Everybody wants to cram as much as they can. There's these bucket lists. There's these back-to-back activities, running from one spot to the next.
Over time, the two of us realized that doesn't make traveling that fulfilling. And it just seems to be the blueprint by which many of us go by.
Yeah.
And I don't think you always mean to cram so much in as possible, but it just kind of happens that way.
And so what we're going to do is really dig into what slow travel is, how it's made our trips more enjoyable, way less stressful, and again, tell you how to do it. So whether you're planning this big trip or a big getaway, we've got plenty of insights and stories to share. We'll tell you our personal experiences of both.
All right, well, let's talk about what slow travel is, and it's probably best to explain it by telling you the difference between, slow travel and traditional travel. Traditional travel is usually fast-paced itineraries, and of course, trying to fit everything into a time frame, a time block. Slow travel is going with the flow. You have a kind of a loose plan. Intentional experiences, and just a lot of time, relaxed time to soak up whatever you want to soak up.
Right. So really embrace the culture of wherever you are. Because I think sometimes when we see, a new city or place that we're going to, we have all these landmarks, all of these Instagrammable spots, and we're bam, 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 and we're hitting all those highlights, and then we're not really embracing what the culture is. So why we became slow travelers? Well, we've talked before about stress with travel and self-care with travel and all of these different things. And we have just found, and Jerry, I think you can attest to this, that when we have had things planned, even though you love traveling, you get sort of like, oh gosh, it's almost a dread because of the whole rush of the airport and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. I don't feel I travel quite as well as Shannon does. Definitely the hectic pace of an airport and car travel just really kind of runs me down. So you get where you need to go, you can be a little bit fatigued. So
that's sort of why we've embraced it. One of the worst examples of this traditional travel, the fast travel for us, is when we planned this packed trip to Philadelphia. And we had, and I guess I did it. I mean, I say we, but I did it. It was our first time to Philly. It was like all these things we had to make sure we did. Well, if you Google landmarks or sightseeing or things you must do in Philadelphia, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We had a spreadsheet of
You're-
all of the things, the names of the places, what day we would do it, the directions to it, here's their hours, all these different things. And I remember the second day just being like, okay, let's just screw this list. Like, I'm really tired.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. We did fit in a whole lot, but, different restaurant every night, which that's not so bad. But on the third day, we were like, yeah, we can't do this anymore. And that's sort of the physical, mental, all the drain, the irritability. That is exactly what happens when you return home. You can't even remember half of the things that you did. It's just a blur.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, when you're making a list, you're not thinking about what could go on and what could make the actual journey getting there stressful or difficult, because there's always something that's going to throw it off track.
That's true.
Yeah.
A place is going to be closed that you didn't intend on, or there's going to be some, like traffic or something like you said. Or you're going to end up enjoying a spot so well that you're like, oh, I wish I could just embrace this. Oh, but no, we got to fit in 3 more things that day.
Yeah.
And so you feel rushed instead of just sitting and embracing that spot.
That's right. And when you're writing it out, you don't think that. It looks like a little mathematical thing. Everything's in little blocks, and it looks good that way, but it doesn't work out that way.
Right. So now let's talk about the benefits of being a slow traveler, if you don't already have it by what we've said. So the first thing, of course, is that there's less stress and travel burnout. You're not running from one thing to the next. You may want to check out our article about airport anxiety, which we have kind of alluded to in this, and all this will be in the show notes.
Yeah. One thing is you're probably going to have more meaningful experiences. You're going to have more time, I think, to talk to people and more time to explore. And in this case, you will find hidden places that you didn't even think about or consider. Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like, and we're going to get into this too, like, when you walk, you see so much more than if you were just driving from spot to spot. Like, you might not see this tiny little place that you're like, oh my God, that place was so cool, and we wouldn't have found it unless we were walking or whatever it is. But yeah, you do see those hidden gems. The next thing is it saves money. So a lot of times, let's talk about international, like if you're planning a trip to Europe and you go, oh, I'm going to Europe, so I have to fit in every country while I'm over there because they're so close, and you could take a train or you could take one flight to another. Well, you save money when you're a slow traveler because you're not like, you know what, I'm going to have a longer stay. I'm going to have a better deal because I'm going flight from here to there, round trip back. So it does save money than trying to fit in so much with like the transportation issue part.
Yeah, it's also more sustainable.
We love that.
One of our favorite words, sustainable. You reduced unnecessary movement, and that reduces your carbon footprint.
That's right. Mm-hmm. It also creates deeper memories. So the small moments end up being the most special. We just came back from a trip to New York where it was, well, not just came back, but we were on a trip to New York City recently together. And it was to go and visit the Virgin New York City Hotel.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, when me and Jerry go to New York, there's a million things. You could go to New York every week and you'll never do everything that's there. So normally we're like, okay, we got to fit everything in. But you know what we did? We enjoyed that hotel.
Oh, yeah.
We took it slow and easy. It was probably the slowest travel we've ever done.
Oh, yeah. Snail's pace travel.
Snail's pace.
Yeah.
We had an amazing New York pizza and brought it to the hotel room.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So it was those small moments that you don't think would be, memorable. It's one of the most memorable things now for me.
Oh, indeed. Indeed. Well, you ask, how do I become a slow traveler?
Yeah. Is it easy? Can I do it? If we can do it, you can do it.
Okay. Well, lend an ear and we'll tell you. For starters, just choose fewer destinations instead of hitting 5 cities in 10 days. Well, and that would be really ambitious. Pick 1 or 2 and really explore them.
Yeah, sort of like we were talking about Europe.
Yeah.
Especially if you go international, or if you're somewhere, if you're in Canada or you're in Europe and you're coming to the United States, you're like, I need to hit all these states if I'm there for 10 days. And you don't. You really don't have to do that. Just pick one or two, really enjoy them. The next thing is to stay longer in one place. Find a deal in a hotel that offers weekly rates. Or you can check out an Airbnb that may do the same. A lot of Airbnb or vacation rentals have better rates when you stay for a week than just a few days. It saves money, it saves time, and you have one home base instead of, the stress of going from one hotel to another and, I got a deal over here and over here. Just stay longer in one place.
Yeah, and then, of course, back to itinerary, I think we kind of semi-addressed that already. Don't pack it so full. Leave a little bit of flex in it so you can have spontaneous experiences and you can relax a little more, too.
Right. Mm-hmm. Live like a local. Now, I love this no matter what kind of a traveler you are. Find the small cafes, go to the local farmers markets or just the local mom and pop places, walk more, take public transportation, ask the locals what they love. The worst thing to me, not the worst, but one of just the worst things is when someone goes to a different place and they end up walking into a McDonald's. Or they go to a place and they're like, where's the local mall? Just don't do that. Live like a local. You're going to have such a better experience. And that is such a great part of the slow travel is also supporting the local culture.
You're correct. Prioritize quality over quantity. That's good in any walk of life.
Right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
do fewer things. But the things you do choose to do, just get more into them. Take a class of some sort. Cooking, sewing, backgammon, or do a tasting tour. That's pretty popular with people. That's always fun to do.
Yeah, we've done a few of those.
Yeah.
Like a lot of different places offer a walking tasting tour. You can go on our website. We have a link to where you can find some of those.
Yeah.
And, that's fun instead of eating at just one restaurant, but you're still doing things slow. You're walking, you're embracing more of the things in that area. It's really cool. The other thing a practical step to become a slow traveler is to unplug more. So spend less time on Google Maps, maybe more time exploring without a plan. And of course, always be safe. So know a little bit about where you're going. Like if you're like, okay, I'm going to go a few blocks up to this little cafe that I heard about. And you're getting out the Google Maps and you're on your phone and you're just like, I just want to make sure I get there. Just go, hey, I know it's up this street. I'm just going to walk. I'm going to see what else is that I can do or some other things I want to see on the way there.
Yep. One thing a lot of people that sort of drives a lot of people into doing too much is thinking they're going to miss out.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's definitely something that people need to overcome. And, overcoming that FOMO feel in travel is real. Like when someone... I feel like I keep going back to New York City, but I feel like New York City is one of those cities that everyone wants to go to at least once. And when they get there, they have all these things that they want to do, but then they go, but what if I don't go to the Empire State Building? What if I miss out on that one thing? And it is so easy to fall into that mindset, especially with Instagram posts, blog content, all the to-do lists. And I'll tell you something that we do with our blogs, that when we go somewhere, we do research it and what are the things that people do. But to me, it's like, why do you want the same photo that everyone else gets? Like there's the one in the alleyway in front of the Brooklyn Bridge. Every single person gets a photo there. Why do you want the same thing? Do you want to wait in line at the southernmost...
That's what I was just thinking about that.
At Key West.
Key West, yeah.
It's like, why do you want to wait in line to take a picture in front of... Which, by the way, we've done.
Yeah.
But why wait in line? Now when we go, I'm just tell people, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Everybody has a picture there. Mm-hmm. Why wait in line for it? Yeah. So the fear of missing out, just try to get past it. read our blogs. We try to tell you some of the things that, if they're worth it or not, or hey, you can skip that. By the way, I do highly recommend you go to the Empire State Building. I'm someone who would tell you, if you're limited in time, go to the Empire State Building instead of like the Edge or the Summit, because the Empire State Building is iconic.
Yeah.
And those other things are sort of like, I mean, we've done them too, but it's just like, yeah, those are fun, but the Empire State Building is iconic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You got to see that. And one of those things people always say is, if I don't see it, am I going to regret that? We used to ask ourselves that. And, you know, one thing or the other, visiting places, museums or restaurants, are we going to regret it? Here's the thing, y'all. The fear of missing out usually makes you rush through experiences instead of enjoying them.
Right.
Yeah.
When we started shifting our mindset from, oh my gosh, we have to see everything, to let's fully experience this place, we really stopped feeling like we were missing out. And we felt like, oh, we're actually enjoying more than what we would or what most people do when they come.
Yeah.
So instead of asking, will we regret not seeing this? We were like, will this experience truly add value to our trip? Do we just want a picture there because everybody gets a picture there?
Yeah.
Do we want to go to that bar because we found out that Rihanna was there a couple weekends ago? That's not a reason for us to feel like we need to add it in.
Speak for yourself.
It really, like Jerry said, is about quality over quantity. When you try to squeeze in too much, you don't actually experience anything in depth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'd rather spend a slow morning just like I do at home, wandering a neighborhood just like I do at home.
Do you wander a neighborhood at home?
Yeah. Usually my own, but sometimes I venture off the beaten trail, yeah.
Yeah.
And have good conversations with people wherever you are, maybe a coffee shop or something like that, you know. Just immerse yourself into wherever you are, and instead of rushing around.
Yeah. When you schedule every moment of your trip, you don't actually give yourself the space to be in a place. Yeah. And honestly, those unplanned moments, those are the ones that we remember most. So let's talk about the big thing that everybody is thinking. How in the world are we going to skip the big tourist attractions? How is that going to lead to these wonderful, unique experiences, Shannon and Jerry? What in the world? How am I going to skip that? Okay, Don't get us wrong. We're not saying you should avoid all tourist attractions. Again, some of them are iconic for a reason. You got to do the Empire State Building, okay? Yeah. But what we found is that sometimes the best experiences happen when you go beyond the popular spots.
That's right. You know, at the end of the day, it's not about checking things off a list. It's you want to be a little creative. You want to create experiences, things that you'll remember, things that'll matter to you. You'll remember them years down the road. And if you're going by a script, it might not work out that way because you might be skipping the spontaneity and also meeting people too if you're just concentrating on things. You know what I'm saying?
You know, sometimes I think about Jerry and I had this photo shoot that we sound, I'm sounding very bougie right now, but it wasn't like that. But we did have a photo shoot in New York. And at the end of it, the guy was from New York and he said, are you guys going to get dinner after this? And we were like, yeah, I mean, we finished in Times Square. So we were like, yeah, we're definitely going to get out of Times Square and find something. And he says, oh, you should go to Restaurant Row. And we were like, what is that? Oh, you just walk down that a couple blocks. And it's like in the Broadway, Hell's Kitchen area. And it's just every kind of restaurant you're going to want to find. So we did. No plan. We just walked down there. And we ended up finding Bardot.
Yep.
Bardough.
Yeah.
A great pizza place.
Uh-huh.
And now, like when I go back, I love that pizza place. And we would have never found it. I'm thinking about it. Pizza is a common thread with us. I'm thinking about another pizza experience we loved was we were waiting to go inside of some touristy thing. I think it was Summit or the Edge, or I think it was Summit. And we had a time-stamp ticket. It was nighttime. We were like, well, we haven't eaten anything. And we walked into this divey little pizza place.
Yeah.
And it was by the slice. And it was such a great experience.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Uh-huh.
I would have never done that. I would have never said, where are we going to go to dinner? Oh, let's go to that divey pizza place outside of the street or whatever.
Yeah.
But we did, and it was so great.
And
there was a picture of Al Pacino up there. Like,
yeah.
like it was one of those places. It was just such a great experience.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And like any other time we're podcasting, there's plenty of minimalists on board listening to us. So let's talk about why slow travel might work for them too.
Yeah, so why minimalism and slow travel go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So what we've realized is that we have said a lot of times in this podcast, quality over quantity. That's totally what minimalism is about. Again, we sold everything to live a life of more experiences. We want to live a larger experience life than having a bunch of stuff. So when you talk about why minimalism and slow travel kind of go together, they're two sides of the same coin. Like, we've learned to live with less in our day-to-day lives. And we've also learned that we don't need to collect experiences the same way we used to. Let's have these full, enriching experiences. More isn't always better. So a slower life reduces the fast pace that so many of us are used to, especially in the U.S.
Instead of rushing through a dozen destinations, we found that staying in one place longer, doing fewer things, and with more intention makes the trips feel a little more fulfilling. We can't overemphasize that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, slow travel, like minimalism, is about trimming the fat, stripping away the excess so you can really appreciate what really matters. You're chipping away at things to get down to the heart of the matter.
Yeah. And instead of filling your suitcase or your itinerary to the brim, you focus on what's meaningful, what brings you joy, and what truly connects you to a place. And that's why we'll never go back to the old way of traveling. We love holding the title now of being a slow traveler. And I'm sure that anyone who travels with us would also appreciate that too.
Yeah. Well, travel isn't about doing it all. It's about experiencing it fully. And once again, we just can't emphasize that enough. If, getting around to the idea, too, that a lot of us have felt exhausted after a vacation, it might be time to rethink how you travel. Try the slow travel. Even in small ways, it can change your experience.
Yeah, just consider one way of the things that we've talked about that you can incorporate slow travel into your next trip. And we think that you are going to have an experience like none other.
That's right. If this episode resonated with you, or if you know of someone who would benefit from what we talked about, please share it with a friend.
It's a great way of supporting the podcast, and we really appreciate it.
Another way of supporting the pod is by leaving us a 5-star review or rating on the platform you are listening to us on.
And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That also supports us. You can always find us, the show notes, and sponsors who support the podcast at arneradventures.com.
And until next time, enjoy the journey you're on. We're wishing you lots of adventures.
Bye-bye.